We are indeed very blessed today to have with us Bhagavan's chosen instrument in the Veda movement, Shri N. Sudhindran. And I have a great pleasure and the distinguished honor to introduce you to him. Brother Sudhindran is an alumnus of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. He joined the Sri Sathya Sai University in 1997 in Brindavan campus and went on to pursue his Masters of Business Administration in the Prasanthi Nilayam campus in 2002. He was very uniquely blessed by Bhagavan to serve in the Finance and the Accounts Department of Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust. And during that tenure, Sri N. Sudhindran was tremendously blessed with Bhagavan's divine grace and had the good fortune of leading the Vedam chanting group in the Prasanthi Mandir. And in his own words, he had the greatest boon of serving Bhagavan in the Yajur Mandir from 2008 on till Bhagavan's Mahasamadhi in 2011. Sri N. Sudhindran is currently employed in an Australian company as a financial functional consultant, and he is in the field of ERP. I have great honor in welcoming you, Brother Sudhindran. Please join me in welcoming Brother Sudhindran. Sai Ram.
गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तः प्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमः। Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most loving and prayerful pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, Sai Ram to all of you. I deem it Bhagwan's grace and mercy that I have been given this opportunity to stand before you here and share a few of my thoughts and experiences regarding Vedam chanting and Rudram in specific. So let me begin by going into the reason as to why Bhagwan lays a lot of importance for chanting Vedas. We all know that Bhagwan has declared that his avataric mission is Dharma Sthapana. Bhagwan in his earlier incarnation as Bhagwan Shri Krishna had declared Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. In order to re-establish Dharma, I will incarnate from age to age. Therefore, Dharma Sthapana is Bhagwan's foremost mission. And aiding to this, Bhagwan has declared that Veda Poshana and Vidvat Poshana are also important aspects of his avataric mission. What is the relationship between Dharma and Veda? it is said that Vedokhilo Dharmam Moolam, meaning the Vedas form the roots of Dharma. And therefore, if Bhagwan has to nourish the tree of Dharma, he has to water the roots of the Vedas. We all know that if one has to water a plant, there is no use sprinkling water on the leaves or the branches. It will not help. One has to water the roots, only then the tree will flourish. And therefore, in order to re-establish Dharma, Bhagwan decided to water the roots of Dharma, which is the Vedas. And therefore, Vedas play a very, very important role in Bhagwan's avataric mission. And we are all very blessed that we are involving in this Veda Poshana mission of Bhagwan and doing our little bit, whatever we can in our limited capacity in order to further Bhagwan's mission. So now we know the reason why Bhagwan gives a lot of importance for the Vedas, because the Vedas and Dharma are intertwined, inseparable. As Swami would often say, avina bhava sambandham, meaning one cannot exist without the other. If one were to inquire as to what or how did the Vedas originate, it is said that yasya nishvasitam vedaha, meaning the Vedas are the breath of God. So, this will lead to another question then. Which came first? The Vedas or did God? Who came first? And His Holiness the Kanchi Mahaperyava in his book mentioned and dwelt on the same subject, and he counterposed another question. When a baby is born, which comes first, the baby or the breath? Both happen together. And therefore, the Vedas are as old, as eternal as Godhead Himself. And just like there can be no life without the breath and no breath without life, Vedas and Bhagwan are intertwined and inseparable. And therefore, when we chant the Vedas, we are recollecting and reproducing the breath of God, the very life breath of God. Can there be anything more holier than this? Is there anything that we can aspire to do more than that? Than to reproduce the vibrations of the divine breath. So we should all congratulate ourselves and express our gratitude to Bhagwan for having chosen us, all of us, to participate in this divine mission of Veda Poshana. There are so many mantras that echo Bhagwan's teachings. In fact, you all might have heard about Brahmashri Kamavadhani Garu. He was a great Vedic exponent and a very great devotee of Bhagwan. one day, someone asked Kamavadhani Garu, as to, in Telugu, Ayya, Swamiki Vedam Telusa? Does Swami know Vedam? And do you know Brahma Shri Kamavadhana Garu's words? He mentioned, Ayya, Swami Cheppinde Vedam. Whatever Swami utters is verily the Vedas. Where is the question of Swami knowing or not knowing the Vedas? He, such a great Vedic exponent of his times, he every day without fail, in the early hours of morning, generally when Bhagwan used to take bath on the first floor of the Prasanthi Mandir, that time Brahma Shri Kamavadhani Garu would be below, just below in the ground floor where the bathroom is situated, just below that, next to the pipeline, hearing the water going through in the pipe, and he would be chanting the Rudram, in the truly knowing and realizing that when Lord Paramashiva is having bath, one should chant Rudram because Rudrabhishekam is happening. So that was his utmost devotion and wisdom. So in his own words, he mentioned, Swami Cheppinde Vedam, whatever Swami utters is Vedam. And therefore, it is not surprising that Bhagwan's teachings are reflected in many mantras in the Vedas and Upanishads. You all know that Bhagwan laid a lot of importance for learning the Shri Rudram. It was in the year 2008, during preparations for Bhagwan's Sahasra Purna Chandra Darshana Shanti Mahotsava, that Bhagwan one day in September called me and 2-3 other student brothers of mine and instructed us, 3 of us, to teach Rudram, Namakam, to all the students and devotees in Sai Kulwant Hall. Because Swami was very clear and categorical. I want each and every student to chant Namakam without seeing the book, by heart and perfectly. That was Swami's expectation. And from the very next day, for almost 2 weeks, every day, before Bhagwan would come out for darshan, Swami asked us to start the Vedam class exactly at, I think, 3 p.m. And that time, not just the students assembled in Sai Kulwant Hall, so many devotees in Sai Kulwant Hall, everybody was ready to learn the Namakam because Bhagwan had instructed that everybody should learn the Namakam. Swami always says, Rudram chepte bhadranga untamu. Meaning to say, when we chant the Rudram, there is navelru bhadravagirtivi anta. We will all be safe and protected. We will have the divine protection if we chant the Rudram. And therefore, for the next 2 weeks, we 3 of us brothers, we taught everybody in Kunwal Hall the Namakam. And everybody learnt. And when Swami would come and sit on the stage, he would suddenly pick students from the crowd and say, hey, stand up and chant. And Swami would test. And at the end of those 2 weeks, Swami then chose a few boys who could chant very well, who could chant very confidently and perfectly. And Swami gifted his own silk dhoti by his hands, divine hands, to each of those students, and then blessed all of us to lead Swami's golden chariot in procession on that blessed day of Sahasra Purna Chanda Darshana Shanti in November 2008. It was such a momentous occasion which we will never ever forget. So that is the importance given by Bhagwan for Rudram chanting. And no wonder that the Shri Sathya Sai Seva organizations across the country have started this Rudramayam program so that each and every one of us can learn this Rudram and also chant and teach and share it with everybody. Because Swami always says, in fact, I remember very clearly one of the Dashara discourses, Swami mentioned that if one learns the Vedas and its great wisdom and does not teach and share it with others, Ayana Donga. He is a thief because he wants to appropriate for himself, selfishly, the great benefits of the Vedam chanting. And therefore, we all of us who have been chosen to participate in this Veda Poshana mission of Bhagwan should first learn the mantras perfectly and next chant and share it and teach it with everybody around us. Only then will Swami be happy. Now let me dwell upon a few points about the benefits of chanting Shri Rudram. The Jabal Upanishad says that by chanting Shri Rudram, all the sins are destroyed. Similarly, even the Sutta Samhita says, I quote, Sarvopanishadam Saraha Rudradhyayaha Samarthitaha Boghartino Mumukshorva Prayashchittarthinopi Va Rudropanishatu Muktva Gatiranya Navidyate. Meaning, the Shri Rudram is the essence of all the Upanishads, and it is prescribed for fulfillment of all desires, for expiation of all sins, and for attaining mukti or liberation. And when we say that when we chant the Rudram, it destroys the sins and grants us immortality, it is verily echoing Bhagwan's teachings when he said, the only way to immortality is removal of immorality. And therefore, when we remove and destroy the sins, we can then proceed towards immortality. Many great scholars of yore, like Shayanacharya, Vishnu Suri, Abhinava Shankara, Bhatta Bhaskara, Ahobila, have written commentaries on Shri Rudram. I will just try to share a few of these points with all of you here. See, one unique thing about this language of Sanskrit is, of course, there are many distinguished scholars here who will be able to profoundly expound on this, but I would like to share a few points that I have come across. In Sanskritam, each word has 6 meanings, and therefore you can imagine that there are minimum 6 meanings for every sentence. So therefore, each sentence, each word and sentence can be interpreted in multiple ways. And in fact, this is the very reason that based on the Prasthanatraya, the Vedas, Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, based on the same source of scriptures, three distinct schools of thought, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita and Advaita have emerged. It can be quite surprising, isn't it? Exactly based on the same scriptures, three divergent teachings have been established in Sanatana Dharma. So that is because the language of Sanskritam lends itself to so much of interpretation. So let me start off with one. It is said in the Namakam, there is a sentence which says, Namo Goshthyaya cha Gruhyaya cha, meaning to say, salutations to Lord Rudra who resides in the cowsheds, and salutations to Lord Rudra who resides in houses. It can be quite perplexing because what is this meaning that is being conveyed through this sentence? If one were to analyze, then one would know, based on Vishnu Suri's interpretation, that the word Goshthyaya, that is referring to cowshed, and in Sanskritam, the word Go refers to cow and also to the Vedas. So it refers to both cows and the Vedas. And therefore, one interpretation would be salutations to Lord Rudra who is inside the cows, who resides as the Atman in all the living beings and in the cows. That is one level of interpretation. Similarly, Gruha means house, where a householder lives. One who is the Grihastha Ashrama lives in the Griha. And therefore, at one level, at a physical, superficial level, Namo Gruhyaya cha means salutations to Lord Rudra who resides as the householders with their spouses in the houses. Yes, we can understand that the Lord Rudra is the inner being of all beings, and more so the human beings, because human beings represent the apex of God's creation. So this is the one level of interpretation of this sentence. And now, based on Vishnu Suri's interpretations, if we dig deeper, it is said, like I mentioned, if we take that the word Go refers to the Vedas, then when it is said salutations to Rudra who resides in the cowshed, then it refers to the mind, because in Taittiriya Upanishad it is said, Anyontara Atma Manomayaha Tenaisha Purnaha Saba Esha Purusha Vida Eva Tasya Purusha Vidhatam Anvayam Purusha Vidhaha Tasya Yajure Vashiraha Rugdakshinah Pakshaha Samottarah Pakshaha Adesha Atma Atharvangirasah Puchham Pratishtha Tadapyesha Shloko Bhavati. It means, this says that the Vedas reside in the Manomaya Kosha. We all know that Bhagwan has said, and the Upanishads also declare, that all of us are made of 5 sheets or koshas. The Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, the pranamaya kosha, the vital breath, manomaya kosha, the mind, vijnanamaya kosha, the intellect, and anandamaya kosha, the atma, the bliss. Each one of us are made of these 5 koshas. And therefore, based on this interpretation of Vishnu Suri, when we say salutations Rudra, who resides in the cowsheds, it does not refer to the cowshed, but where the Vedas reside, which is the Manomaya Kosha. So salutations to Rudra, who resides in the Manomaya Kosha. Isn't it very profound? From the mere interpretation of cowshed, it has now come to the Manomaya Kosha. Similarly, the next part, Namo Gruhyaya Cha. When I in the first instance, I mentioned that it refers to Lord Rudra who resides in the houses. But now, when I said where the householder resides with his wife. So, one of the interpretations of wife, metaphysically speaking, it refers to buddhi, the atma. Atma tvam girija matihi, it said. So, the atma is Ishvara, and the vijnana or even the mind is Parvati. So, going by this interpretation, if buddhi, so salutations to Rudra, where the buddhi resides, which is Vijnanamaya Kosha. Again, from the Taittiriya Upanishad, we can quote that Anyomtara Atma Vijnanamayaha Tenaisha Purnaha Sava Esha Purusha Vidha Eva Tasya Purusha Vidhatam Anvayam Purusha Vidhaha Tasya Shraddhaiva Shiraha Rutam Dakshinah Pakshaha Satyamut Taraf Pakshaha Yoga Atma Mahaf Puchham Pratishtha Tadapyesha Shloko Bhavati. Based on this, the sheath where the buddhi resides is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And therefore, salutations to Lord Rudra who resides in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Do you see at what levels the very same sentence can be interpreted? That is the beauty of Sanskritam and the Vedas. It is something similar to an onion. You can peel one layer, there will be one more layer inside. You peel that, there is just one more layer inside, but all of it is comprised in that onion. So, that's why Swami says, S-A-I, see always inside. Therefore, we should always look at the inner meaning to get the benefit of the Vedam. So, this is one example of how the Rudram, Shri Rudram, as well as the Vedas are so profound that it is like something like a supermarket. One can buy something very, very, anything, right from safety pin and matchstick to whatever, refrigerator, TV or anything. So that, based on each one's evolution, one would be able to identify and grasp the meaning of the Vedas. That is the beauty of the Vedas and the Sanatana Dharma. I would like to narrate an experience of mine that happened when I had the good fortune of chanting the Vedas in the immediate divine presence of Bhagwan at Prasanthi Nilayam, day after day, morning and evening. It was one of those days when Bhagwan called me and asked me to give the meaning or the translation of the Veda mantras. See, Bhagwan laid a lot of importance for chanting the mantras and also to know the meaning of the mantras. One should not just stop at learning to chant the mantras. That is the first step. The next step would be to grasp and understand the meaning of the mantras. Because once we know the meaning of the mantras and we appreciate its meaning, then we will know the bhavam, the feeling behind it. And when we do that, fully realizing the gravity and the richness of the meaning and the benefits of that, then we will be motivated to put that into daily practice in our lives. And then, after practicing the teachings of Vedas and Bhagwan in our lives, then we become qualified to teach others about this and then make all of them follow the Godward path. So, chanting the mantras is the first step. The second step is to know the meaning. The third step is to enjoy the bhavam, the feeling behind it. And then to practice the teachings of the Vedas and Swami in our daily lives. And finally, out of practice and wisdom, to share it with everybody and take everybody along with us on the Godward path. So, that's why Swami used to lay a lot of importance for learning the meaning of the mantras. So, that day we were chanting the mantra Pushpam, and Swami called me and asked me to translate this mantra Pushpam. So, which I did as per Bhagwan's instructions. When the Veda group chanted one sentence, Yopam Pushpam Veda, so then I followed up with the translation in English. So then line by line, we went through the entire mantra Pushpam, and then I gave the translation of the mantra in Bhagwan's presence. At the end of it, Swami called me and asked, what is the essence of this mantra? Saramsha, essence of the mantra Pushpam. So then I only picked up the meaning, the translations from books. I was unaware, so I folded my hands and humbly submitted to Swami. Swami, I don't know the essence of the mantra Pushpam. Swami, please enlighten me. And then Swami mentioned that the essence of the mantra Pushpam is Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. Meaning, the knower of Brahman becomes one with the Brahman. So then, having heard that from Bhagwan's divine lips, I took Swami's namaskar and then I came back and sat in my place. And in my mind, I was trying to analyze and trying to arrive at how this could be the essence of the mantra Pushpam. I was struggling with it for a few days. I was trying to understand why did Swami say that Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati is the essence of this mantra Pushpam? I'm not able to, reconcile with that. And then, after quite a few days, the truth dawned on me. See, Swami, in the mantra Pushpam, it says, Yopam Pushpam Veda Pushpavan Prajavan Pashuman Bhavate Chandramava Apam Pushpam Pushpavan Prajavan Pashuman Bhavate Ya Evam Veda Yopamayatanam Veda Ayatanavan Bhavate. See, these three sentences. Yopamayatanam Veda Ayatanavan Bhavati. If you observe, this keeps repeating again and again. It's a common refrain throughout the mantra Pushpam. So, if you analyze, it says Yopa Mayatanam, the one who knows the source of Apa, or for that matter, all the elements of the creation, starting with Surya, Chandra, water, Agni, Vayu, Parjanya, clouds, Nakshatra, stars, Samvatsara, everything, it says, it comes back to the same thing. It says the one who knows the origin or the source of all these elements of nature, Ayatanavan Bhavati, becomes, Ayatana means the source. One becomes one with the source, one merges with the source. So, if you go back to Taittiriya Upanishad and try to find out as to what is the origin of all these elements of creation, it is given in the Brahmanandavalli. Brahmavida apnoti param tadesha bhyukta satyam jnanamanantam brahma yo vedanhitam guhayam parame vyoman soshnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipaschitete tasmadva etasmad atmana akashas sambhutah akashad vayuh vayoragnihi agnerapah adbhyah prithvi prithivya oshadhayah oshadhibhyonnam annat purushah. So it says, Akasha, the first element of creation, came from the Atma or divinity. From the divine, from God emerged Akasha. Akashad Vayu, from Akasha, sky element, emerged Vayu or the wind. Vayor Agnihi, from Vayu emerged the Agni. Agner Apaha, from Agni emerged Apa, the water. Adbhyah Prithvi, from water emerged Prithvi, earth. Prithivya Oshadhayaha, from earth emerged the vegetation. Oshadhibhyonnam, from vegetation came the food. Annat Purushaha, from the food emerged man. So when we go back and trace the origin of all this, it comes back to Atma. And therefore, and when it in the mantra Pushpam, when it says Yopa Mayatanam Veda Ayatanavan Bhavati, when one realizes that the source of all this is the divine Atma, one merges into the Atma. And that's what Swami said, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati, period. Such a long mantra, Swami gave the essence in just 2 seconds. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸರಳವಾಗಿ, very simply, as a matter of fact, Swami mentioned, the essence of mantra Pushpam is Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. So profound, isn't it? That there is so much of Veda and Vedanta behind it for us to understand. But Swami, in all his discourses, Swami encapsulates the essence of all the Vedas, the Upanishads, Puranas, Itihas, everything, Bhagavad Gita, and gives it to us in a platter. Like how mother would take all the rice, rasam, palya, everything, mash it nicely, and then slowly, little by little, feed it to her baby. Swami does the same thing for all of us. All the profound, very cryptic and very terse and abstract principles of the Vedas and Vedanta is given to us in a very, very simple form that even a first standard student can understand. That is the beauty of Bhagwan and his teachings. So, dear brothers and sisters, we've all realized the importance of the Vedas in divine mission. We all know that Swami expects us to learn the mantras, to understand its meaning, to apply it in our daily lives, and then share it with everybody. And we all know the power of the Shri Rudram. Rudram chapte bhadrangga untamu. If we chant the Rudram, we will be protected by the divine. And I have also shared with you how Bhagwan's every word is verily the Veda, as Brahmashri Kamadhinigaru mentioned earlier. So with these few words, I would like to conclude my talk and also request all of you that we should make complete use of this great opportunity that Bhagwan has bestowed on us because of his infinite mercy and grace upon us. We should all strive our best to first learn the mantras, understand its meaning, practice it in our daily lives, and then share it and teach the mantras to everybody around us. And together, all of us, hand in hand, should walk the path to Bhagwan. Bhagwan always used to say, Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahavidyam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we should all walk hand in hand on the Godward path together. Kalasi melisi perugudam, kalasi melisi tirugudam. Kalasi melisi telusukunna telivini poshinchudam. We should all walk together on the Godward path. And we should, whatever we learn, we should share it with all of us. And together we should go and attain the ultimate destination of Bhagwan's lotus feet. So, dear brothers and sisters, are we all sure, are we prepared to give our best and participate in Bhagwan's divine mission of Veda Poshana? Are you all ready? Yes? जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय साई राम हरि ओम तत्सत
Om Shri Sai Ram. Brothers and sisters, let's give a big round of applause for Brother Sudhindran. Thank you, Brother Sudhindran, for virtually and actually transporting us to Prasanthi Nilayam, sharing beautiful anecdotes from your personal experience with Bhagavan, especially about how we all must aspire to not merely learn to chant the Vedam, but to also make a humble endeavor to understand or grasp the meaning of it. And not only the superficial meaning, but the inner meaning, the essence, the Saramsha, as Swami said. And how beautifully Swami gave you that piece of Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati as the essence of Mantra Pushpam. We all need to contemplate on it, meditate on it, to understand what this means and how we can learn this and put it into practice. Thank you, brother, once again.